So once I ask them about their project and how I can help them or how our company can help them, I'm quiet. So I let them talk and I listen. And I listen to all these things. And what this does is it filters us as a company for them to hire, as well as us, a company, if we can fit their needs and we can help them out.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on Constructive Conversations, the podcast that dives deep into the chasm that exists between contractors and their customers. Our goal is to improve communication between contractors and their customers by interviewing people on both sides and gleaning the keys of how to have your construction project go right. Our guest today is Sheldon Schram, owner of Schramtastic Contracting. They have been in the renovation, remodeling industry for 13 years, moving from kitchens and residential remodeling now into commercial and office spaces. In this conversation, we talk about the communications process, how information gets passed back and forth to the customer effectively. We talk about handling problems that come up on job sites head on, and we discuss the future of the trades and contracting industry in Canada.
Good morning, Nick.
Hey, Sheldon.
How's
How's it going? Great. How about you?
It's going well. Nice to meet with you.
Yeah, thanks for joining. To get started, do you want to introduce yourself and your company and what your company does?
So I'm Sheldon Schram. I'm with Schramtastic Contracting. We've been in business from 2010, and we started out as a residential contractor doing kitchens and bathrooms. And then from there, we've moved into the more commercial realm of working for property management companies and commercial customers. We do everything from building maintenance and minor repairs right up to full renovations and office build-outs. We're a family-run business, and we've got, how many have we got? We got 2, 4, 5 employees now, so with office staff and admin.
That's great. Good for you guys.
Yeah, and the future looks nice. It looks good.
So, to start off, can you tell us about a typical project or maybe even your favorite type of project? What does that look like for your company?
Well, our initial contact from the customer, so he or she contacts us either by phone, email, text, any of those avenues. Through our website, we have a portal that they can go on. So if they call us, for example, and they have a project done, I start with a 15 or 20-minute call with them on the phone or by Zoom, and they tell me about their project. So once I ask them about their project and how I can help them or how our company can help them, I'm quiet. So I let them talk and I listen. And I listen to all these things. And what this does is it filters us as a company for them to hire, as well as us, a company, if we can fit their needs and we can help them out. So with that 15-minute call, I'm able to cover a lot of ground and really filter them down to whether we'll be a good fit for each other. If we're a good fit, that's great. Then what I get them to do is go on our website and fill out their online request. They fill that out with as much information as they can give us. Basically, a lot of the same stuff that we've done on the initial call, but that way I have it right in my CRM. Then from there, I'll schedule a site visit if necessary, and that puts me out on site. In the preliminary call as well, I'll get them to send me pictures if they can of their area that they want to renovate. Let's say it's a repair. They send me a picture of the repair, of the damage. Then I'm able to put that right into my CRM. They fill out the online request. We schedule an assessment if necessary. And then I'm able from there to move into the estimate stage, send them a budgetary, or I can give them a budgetary right over the phone of what their project's going to cost. It's going to be between this amount and this amount, somewhere in that neighborhood. Does that fit with their budget? Does that fit with what they were thinking? If it does, great. If it doesn't, then there might be a little bit more work on my side to, talk to them about what exactly we're going to do and why it costs that amount. So then from there, from the estimating stage, They can do this all online. They approve it online. If there's a deposit to be paid, the deposit can be paid online, and I give them every option. They can use either credit card, or they can use e-transfer, cash, check, money draft, whatever they want. Then the job is scheduled in, and then it moves from being an estimate. Once they approve it, it goes into the job section of our CRM, and then the job is on the go. And the scope of work is always in there. There's notes on every time we contact the customer, talk with the customer. And then from there, once the job is done, it's invoiced from there. So communication is the key throughout our contact, right from that initial contact to the final payment of the job. Communication is the number one goal for us.
Absolutely. And it sounds like you have a good system that keeps that communication front and center.
Right.
What do your customers report? What's their experience and their feedback once they go through the system? Because it sounds like you have it pretty dialed in.
Well, it's always a work in progress. There's always room for improvement. But overall, they're happy, right? I mean, we had a customer the other day that we did some closet doors, changed closet doors from the sliding closet doors to French doors. And she was so happy when it was done. It was amazing. She was happy. She was satisfied. And of course, our Google reviews will reflect that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
People like communication, even if they don't, they may not be a contractor or have contracting experience. If they're in the know and we explain to them each step of the process and then what's going to happen next, we find that there's a lot less fires.
Yeah, for sure. So when everything goes well, right, that's like the system you described flows through. How do you see your company deal with unexpected surprises? So I'm sure you get those often enough on a job, something nobody anticipated or a change. What does that look like in terms of communication?
Yeah, those things always happen. It seems there's never a perfect job. It could be a supply issue. It could be that the supplier promised one thing, but then somebody got sick, especially with COVID. We have so much sickness and so many supply issues, and whether we can't get it or we've got lots of it, but it has to be custom made by our supplier, and the guy is sick that does it, or I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Those things always crop up. And so what we try to do is really let the customer know as soon as we can, as soon as we have answers as to what the problem is, what the solution is, and when they can expect their project to continue or this hiccup to be looked after. And we find that if we keep them in the know, they're usually pretty good. You always get that odd one that isn't, but you know what? We just deal with that as we have to deal with it. And that's part of my job. As the CEO, I deal with the ones that need maybe a little extra attention.
Yeah, definitely. That's the CEO role. And so it sounds in general like customers are pretty understanding, you communicate well. Is that part of the conversation, the initial conversation when you have? Can we dive deeper into that? What does that conversation look like? And do you set expectations? Say they've never, installed closet doors before. Do you tell them, look, stuff could come up. We're going to let you know. But is that part of that first conversation, or does that fit in somewhere else?
That can be part of the first conversation on communication. So when we give them the budgetary price, and that initial conversation really filters them as a customer to us, as well as us as a contractor to them. And what it does is it covers a lot of that information, the communication, how they want to be communicated with. Some people just prefer text. They prefer no phone calls, which is fine. We're willing to adapt to that and help our customers as much as we can. Some are very busy. We're currently on a big project for a real estate agent. And this real estate agent is very, very busy. He has a real estate office of, oh, I think there's 50 real estate agents in his office that he's the owner of. And so he's so busy. So I really try to respect his time. Right at the beginning, I told him what's the best way to contact you. He says text is best or email. Great. That's what we do. And we don't bug him unless we have to bug him. And so that really helps in keeping the job flowing and keeping everything under control. So they know what to expect from our company right at the start. They know how we'll be entering into their home and how we're going to be treating their home. And of course, they have that budgetary price. So they've got everything right up front. We're open and transparent so that we can give them the best product with the less hassle through the whole thing.
Yeah, so you're giving them the high quality finished product, but also the service is tailored to this realtor that he's not going to get bugged and he's still going to get quality work done.
Yes, and he's a very easy guy to deal with. He doesn't want to micromanage things. Here's the project. We've agreed on an estimated price and how it's going to be done and the final product, and he's good. And I also had his wife involved because it's important to have all decision makers involved in these projects, whether they're small or they're large. We always try to think about customers' project, no matter how big or small, is important to them. And so to a contractor maybe that does big jobs, a little job might not be a big deal, but to the homeowner or to the client, it is. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's great. So another one, do you find your customers, so when they come to you, I'm going to assume that you're not the lowest bidder, right? By what I can tell from your company, you're not coming in as the lowest bidder. You're still winning jobs because you have a reputation for quality and for the customer service. So the question is, are your customers usually first time hiring a contractor, or do you find that people who are hiring contractors for the first time will go to the lowest bidder and then learn that lesson painfully that you shouldn't do that because you're going to probably end up paying for it twice? So that's my question. Have your customers already learned that lesson, or do some of them say, you know what, this looks like quality work and that's what we want, and then they go straight for that the first time?
That's a really good question, because part of our company's mission statement is to educate people as well, right? To help them and to educate them with their project. So we're kind of a hybrid. So we work for management companies and condo boards, but we also do work in people's units. So it's almost like a filtering down. There's the management company, then the condo board, then the owner, and possibly a renter of that unit. So all the way down. And so the condo boards, sometimes they'll think, well, you know what, I'll go for the lowest price on this, and it bites them. They end up having to redo it. So I would say, in answer to your question, that it's probably 50-50 to people that are brand new or people that have gotten something done and it didn't work out. So we get a lot of mixture of that. And so what we try to do when we're dealing with condo boards or management companies, and sometimes it's not in the management company's hands, it's in the condo board to make the decision whether to, yes, go with this a little bit of a higher price or not. The management company will do their best to say, you know what, this contractor, Schramtastic Contracting, will do a better job than contractor B or C, right? But they're going to cost a little bit more. But you'll only be doing it once. You won't be doing it twice. And we get a lot of work that's repeat from contractors that didn't do a good job. And it's because they hired basically on price. Yeah. And I understand it. I get it. It's part of it's part of life. It's part of the way they do things. They got to keep their costs under control. And I get that. It's about spending the money where you get the best result.
Yeah. So does that stem from when they hire, they go for the lowest bidder, and that's really common with public service contracts. They have to go for the lowest bidder. Do you find there's a gap there? So the condo board, say, is the decision maker, and then there's a management company who knows who's going to do it right and who's not going to, but then that information doesn't get passed up the chain to the decision makers. Do you see that as a gap? It's common?
It could be. Yeah, it could be. It depends. Property managers, they're very busy people. If you think about their job, they sit down at their desk and their phone is ringing continually. I know property managers that they have their landline ringing and they're on their cell phone at the same time. They have 2-3 phones going at once. And so they're very, very busy. So they may not always, when they meet with the condo board, be able to have all the details and all the information. We try to give them as much information as we can, but they may not have the time or the patience to prepare for it. And it's not their fault. It's just, it's a fact of life. And they may sit down with the condo board and not give them all the information. So in our estimates, when we propose an estimate for a repair and we give it to the property manager and then he sends it to the board or she sends it to the board, we try to detail it as much as we can in order to help the client or the condo board in this case make an informed decision by comparing those 2 estimates or 3 estimates, seeing exactly what, comparing apples to apples, not apples to oranges. And then they can see at the bottom, okay, well, this guy's more than this guy. Are we going right on price? But the guy that's a little bit more is going to do all this. And the guy that's a little bit more, being Schramtastic Contracting, is going to clean up after himself. I mean, I've been into buildings that contractors were in there before us and made a mess and didn't clean up after themselves. That's huge in our company. How we keep our trucks is how we keep our clients' properties spotless, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's like how you do anything is how you do everything. Yeah.
yeah, so educating our property managers so that when they're in front of the board, they can represent us in the best light possible. Again, comes to communication, right? It comes to communication with the property manager and giving them those tools enabled to basically sell our business.
Yeah, and I like that you said that's right in your mission statement is you educate, and you're actually out there doing that. It's not just a mission statement.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We try our best.
Yeah, that's good. And can we talk a little more broadly about the industry? So where you are, what's the trend in the industry there in terms of contractors? Are you short on companies in general? Is there too much demand? Is there not enough quality trades coming out of the schools? Can you talk just about the broader picture?
Yeah, so we're located in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So just 2.5 hours north of you, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, the way it is you've got all these contractors. They're small, medium, and large companies. And the small little guy we saw during the boom time, we saw a lot of people from out of province coming in to Alberta and starting up their own contracting company, or maybe they were a contracting company over there and they come to Alberta and they're very small. They're one guy, maybe 2 guys, and they're just going out there and doing work, whatever they can get their hands on for the cheapest price. Well, now that the boom is it's still booming a bit, but now that we've had a little change in the economy a little bit, now that COVID's over, we're still seeing some of those guys, but they're having a harder time making it. Because if they're not doing quality work, they're going to go out of business. It's that simple. So what we're seeing is those medium companies with some financial backing are making it at this time, and the little guys are starting to drop off if they don't have the capital behind them.
Right. So the customers are being a little more picky, so they're not forced to go and take on just whoever's willing to show up in a truck.
Right. But
So,
they're still going for lowest price.
right.
You know, they're still really watching their dollars. And so a company like ours really has to build that relationship and build that trust with them that, okay, we're a little bit more money, but this is what you're getting. You're getting this, right? You're getting that attention. You're getting those updates every day. You're getting that communication, right? You're getting that cleanliness, as well as you're getting a good quality job that's going to last.
Yeah. So
So
you're,
the companies like us, like your company and my company, we have to do more selling. We have to be on top of it when we're selling and helping the customer, keeping that at the forefront.
yeah.
Because
So
they
it comes
want to
down.
see what they're going to get for their money, right? You know, it's
Yeah.
like if they go in to buy a new car, you know, the base price is here, but then you start adding all those options on it, and it all of a sudden goes to here. And so, okay, so for that, you know, $20,000 difference or $10,000 difference or whatever it is, they've got to see they're getting value, which is perfectly fine. They have
Yeah.
every right to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you position yourself so they understand that the value's actually
Right.
there. Uh-huh.
So here's an example. I had a customer the other day that I got through a lead generation. Now, this couple has a house that's about 7 years old, and they have a front deck, a veranda on the front of their house. So I contacted her. She said she had contacted a couple of contractors. I even went out to look at the job, and a contractor had been doing some work on it. The work, it was substandard.
Mhm.
So I spent an hour with them and said, okay, this is what we need to do. Basically, when the house was built, they built the framing of the deck out of pressure treated material. And then the top of the deck was built out of spruce. And the pillars were built out of
Wow.
spruce. And
Wow.
so I'm thinking the reason they did that was so that they could paint it or stain it and sell a house. They didn't have to wait
Mhm.
the 6 months to a year in order for the pressure treated chemical to come out of the wood. So, okay, that's fine, whatever. So now they have to redo the deck. So they had two estimates. Both guys said that they had to replace the complete deck, everything. Then they hired this guy to do a little bit, and then I don't know what happened to him. I didn't ask. So I took some of the siding off the bottom of the deck, the lattice off the bottom of the deck, and I took my flashlight and I looked underneath. I got down on my hands and knees and I looked under the deck. That's how I found out that the deck was pressure treated, the bottom. So, okay, now all we have to do is do the upper part because there's no rod on the lower part. Okay, good. So what was there? They came back with a couple of questions. Number one, I had told them I had 5 million liability and I was WCB covered, and I educated them on that, telling them that if you're a contractor that you hire, whether it's us or not, if we don't have WCB and we fall off a ladder, we can actually come back and sue you for getting hurt on your property, which they didn't know. Her major concern was her neighbor's house on either side. If we did something that would hit their house and damage their house, was I covered? So that's in my clause for my liability insurance. So I called my insurance agent, told him what the situation was. He sent me over an email stating that we were covered for any neighboring buildings, structures, and everything was good. So I sent them a certificate of insurance. I sent them a WCB clearance along with their contract that they signed. So all the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted in the preliminary. And it built that trust with them that now they hired us and we're going to be doing their job early next month. So you see where the communication comes in, and showing them that you have all this stuff in place in order to protect them as well as protect you as a company.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said that you let them know right from the beginning, right? And then you have all of that in place before shovel hits the ground, before you do any work. They've already been educated, informed, and they have all the documents actually in their hands.
Right. And sometimes people are really, okay, let's get going. And I have to slow them down a little bit in order to get all this stuff in place so that they know where they stand and I know where I stand. So it's important. It's important for that. It comes back to the communication.
Yeah, and that's probably a rare trait for you, the contractor, to tell the customer, hey, hold your horses, let's dot the I's and cross the T's, whereas, the guy who showed up from out of town operating out of the back of his truck also wants to get it done as quick as possible to get his cash and get out of there. So probably the majority aren't going to take the time to slow down and say, no, we're doing things right.
Right. It comes down to company procedure, right? And our company has this procedure in place. And so that comes down to the initial call with the fit, right? If they don't want to respect our processes and our procedures, are they a right fit for us, right? Or are we a right fit for them if we won't run out there right away and do it and not have all these things in place?
So speaking about that, what's your favorite type of customer, type of work to do in terms of who's the best to deal with and also the preferred type of project that you work on?
Well, my preferred client is one that's transparent and asks questions. They're not afraid to ask questions, and they may say, you know what, I got a stupid question. There's no such thing as a stupid question, right? And so the ones that ask questions, do their homework, and want their project done properly. So that's the client we're looking for, and one that has respect for the contractor as well as us having respect for them. Customers that don't have respect for my guys when they show up on site, I don't want that type of customer, right? We have a absolute zero tolerance of our employees, any of them, being verbally or physically abused. Absolutely have zero tolerance for that. And so my guys, when they go out, if a customer starts screaming and yelling at them, I'm the one that gets involved, right? I'm there to protect my employees. And so that's the ideal customer, right? One that doesn't scream and yell and that is reasonable. And if they have a concern, they bring it up and then we deal with it as we have to deal with it. Jobs, we like those jobs that we can get in and we see results right away and they're not long and drawn out. And the customer's happy, we're happy, the bill's paid, and hopefully there'll be a repeat customer one day. Those are the jobs that we like.
Awesome. Nice.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely.
Good.
Yeah, that's good. Those are good answers. Okay, and next, what are you excited about in the future? What do you see, what does the next 10 years look like for your company and the industry in general?
Well, where do you want me to start? The industry or my business?
To say the industry.
Okay. For the industry, I mean, I see good things. We have the trades right now have gotten, over the last few years, have gotten kind of a bad rap. Nobody's going into them, and younger people want to go into something else and computers and all those things. But I see the change in our industry from a guy in a pickup truck with notepads all over his dash and a pencil in his ear, going in to give an estimate, to automation, CRMs, things being automated a lot on the administrative side of it. And it's good things, estimates over your phone and all these things are becoming more mainstream. And I'm excited to see, and especially with AI now, they say it's going to change the world. Some good things, some not so good things. You hear different opinions. But I think if AI is used properly, it'll be a great asset to our industry. And continuing with focusing on educating people. It's not just about, screwing a deck board down or renovating a bathroom or a kitchen. It's about more than that. It's about relationships. It's about connecting and communicating and getting that project completed. So that's where I see our whole industry going. There's great things that are going to be happening. There's a lot of positivity around that, and we continue moving on. Now, for our company, I'm not getting any younger. In 10 years, I'll be at, they call retirement age, but I don't know if I'll ever retire. I think I'll just, take a step back and train, because we are a family-run business. I have my son that works for me. I want to move him up in the company and to be more managing things. And me, I'll still come around once in a while and help out with this or that, or get in the way for this or that, jokingly. But you know what? Having our company a place that people enjoy coming to work with and for, and continuing to grow that business, but still keeping the communication and the connection with the employees paramount.
Awesome. That's great. So I like the family run businesses. So you'll pass down the same values and principles, communicate with customers, and take care of your employees, pass that down. That's
right.
awesome.
How we look after our customers, we want to look after our employees that way too. We want them to come to work, and it's not just about the money. It's about the culture and enjoying coming to work. Just as our customers will enjoy when they see a Schramtastic truck pull up in front of their property for whatever job that they're doing there that day.
Awesome. And I like what you said about the industry. So the industry is adopting more technology. It's becoming more modernized and almost more mature, in the sense when you said that they're working on educating customers, educating the industry, not just doing the work. So that's good to see. Do you see a change in terms of people coming out of school? People talk about the shortage in trades. What's your view on trade shortage?
Yeah, there's definitely a shortage in trades, whether it's plumbers, electricians, all those trades. There's definitely a shortage. But I think it's going to be beneficial for the trades once we get through this little lull and people start coming back to the trades, or young people come back to the trades, and the money has to be there to attract them, right? So if we're more profitable as companies, we can give our employees more, right? Because employees now, they're looking for things like maybe a modified work week where they work 4 days, right? And or some benefit of some kind. Let's say, it's more than just the money. It's maybe a vehicle to use. It's maybe some tools. It's once in a while throwing a barbecue lunch. Some of these things are really attracting ones. So by getting our culture right in our companies, we'll be able to attract those star performers, those rock stars, as we call them, right? And that takes time on the owner, on the CEO's time, to think about things that they can do in their company in order to attract those people. And it's not just money, right? Money is important, but it's about these other things that create a culture to attract those ones. So I see a lot of people coming back to the trades. They're going to have to. right? With one's retiring and so on in the trades, we're going to have to see a shift. So we got to attract them.
Yeah. So you're saying it's important for companies to set themselves up to attract the new young employees who aren't just there for the paycheck. They want more than that. So yeah, set yourself up to attract them.
Yeah, we
Awesome.
have old guys like me. We have to get creative, right? We have to get creative. We have to think about how we're going to attract those ones. And if we're not creative ourselves, we have to get in front of the people or the companies that are creative, that do that marketing, because it's just important the guys that we hire or girls that we hire, people we hire, than it is to get the work done properly and efficiently and well. Both sides of that coin, right? We have to think about who we want representing our company, not just feet and heartbeat.
Yeah, and so you can go out and find the marketing companies if people need that to be able to attract the right talent.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nice. Well, anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, you've covered a lot. We've covered a lot
great.
here today. And if anyone wants to reach out to me, by all means, I'm always here just to chat, just to see, if you've got some hiccups that you got in your company or things that you're struggling with. A lot of times, as business owners and CEOs, we don't have other people that we can talk to about what we're feeling or how we're feeling, right? If you need another contractor to talk to, or just, sit down and say, I'm dealing with this problem, any suggestions, more than happy to meet with you.
That's great. It's
we're
very
all in
generous
this
offer.
together. Yeah, we're in this together, right? And we're here to complement one another, not be competing against one another. And I know that's easy to say, but at the end of the day, we all just want to do what's best for us and our families and be able to do our job and to have happy customers. Because I don't know of any contractor that wants the phone ringing off the hook with unhappy customers. It's just not, it causes us a lot of unnecessary stress.
Yeah, that's great. That's a very generous offer. And where can people reach you? What's your website and your social medias?
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Facebook, and our website is Schramtastic Contracting Inc. Or you can email me at schramtastic@live.ca, and it's SCH. Or go through our website as well.
Great. Well, that's awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast. I appreciate your time and your insights.
No worries. It's always great to connect with you, Nick.
Yeah. And thanks, Sheldon.
You have a wonderful day.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Constructive Conversations. Please share it with your friends who are contractors and customers, people who have done big renos or builds or who have them coming up, so they can learn how to have the right conversations around their construction project. I encourage you to follow the podcast because we have some very great guests coming up. We're aiming for one podcast per week, so make sure you're following. Thank you again for listening. Have a wonderful day.